Good morning to all. I am Dr. K. Muralidharan, Associate Professor, Mechanical Engineering, PSNA College of Engineering and Technology, Dindigul. I am going to take the lecture on power plant engineering. This subject is for 7th semester Mechanical Engineering students of Anna University. Electricity is very important to our day-to-day life. Without electricity, we can't imagine our life. So the electricity where it is produced is called as the places or power plants. So various types of power plants are available in the world. So we are going to see what are all the important types of power plants. So the first important power plant is thermal power plant. The second one is hydroelectric power plant. The third one is nuclear power plant. The fourth one is gas turbine power plant. The fifth one is diesel power plants. The other power plants are like Vortex, geothermal, solar, wind and tidal. As a mechanical engineering student, we must know that what are all the thermodynamic cycles involved in the power plants. For thermal power plants, the thermodynamic cycle for thermal power plant is Rankine cycle. For it is normal power plant. For nuclear power plant, it is a combined cycle. For gas turbine power plant, Brayton cycle. For diesel power plant, diesel cycle. So now we are going to see the power plants one by one. So the first power plant is thermal power plant. Thermal power plant is nothing but it is also called as steam power plant because steam is the working medium, and it is also called as base load power plant. Base load power plant. So normally thermal power plant is working based on steam is a working medium. Here the important components of the power plants are: the first one is boiler, the second one is turbine, the third one is condenser, the fourth one is pump. The various important circuits of this thermal power plant. There are four main circuits are there. So we want to know the layout of the thermal power plant by explaining all these four circuits. The name of the circuits: cold and ash circuit. The second one is air and flue gas circuit. The third one is feed water and steam circuit. The fourth one is cooling water circuit. In this coal and ash circuit, we must know that how the coal is transferred from the coal point to the furnace, and the output is the ash. So we want to remove the ash from the furnaces continuously. How the ash is removed. The next one, for combustion, so we need to supply the air. So for that, how the air is preheated and then it is supplied to the power plant. And the exhaust gas is nothing but a flue gas. How the flue gas is removed from the power plant. That is explained by the air and flue gas circuit. The next one is the feed water and steam circuit. We must know that feed water is nothing but the water which is circulated inside the boiler, where it is converted into steam. So how it is circulated, how it is heated by the economizer. So those things, let me see the feed water circuit. Another one is the steam is produced in the boiler and the steam is used to run the steam turbine. That steam turbine is coupled with the generator. The power is produced from the turbine. That is explained by the feed water and steam circuit. Another one is the cooling water circuit. While running the power plant, we must cool the accessories. So how can do that one? By using the cooling water circuit, we can explain one by one. Now let me see the layout of the thermal power plant. So the first circuit is coal and ash circuit. So coal is nothing but the fuel for the boiler. Here boiler is nothing but a steam generator where the steam is produced by heating the water. So coal is the fuel. The coal is normally stored in a coal storage area. By using the coal handling equipment, the coal is transported to the boiler like belt conveyor and elevator and all other things. All other coal handling equipments are used to transfer the coal from coal storage yard to the boiler. So we know that there are tons and tons of coal is used as a fuel for the thermal power plant. So we want to continuously supply the coal. And the same thing, the output is the ash. So 40% of ash is available in the Indian coal. So how much amount of coal we are using, at the same time that much amount of ash will be produced from the boiler. So the ash temperature in the boiler is around 2000 to 4000 degrees centigrade. So we must remove the ash by using the ash handling equipment. At the same time we must take care of the temperature of the ash also. So the same, how much importance we are giving to the coal storage yard, that much importance we must give to the ash storage yard also. We must remove the ash continuously from the boiler. So next one is the air and flue gas circuit. For combustion, we must supply the air for coal burning process. So the atmospheric air can be taken and it is passed through the air preheater. Air preheater is nothing but to improve the efficiency of the plant. So here the exhaust gas coming from the boiler is having very huge amount of energy. That energy is utilized for heating that air. The air is preheated in the preheater and then air is supplied to the combustion. It is nothing but to increase the efficiency of the boiler. And the flue gas which is coming from the boiler is passed through the economizer. The purpose of the economizer is nothing but it is used to heat the feed water. And the exhaust gas again it is having huge amount of heat that is passed through the air preheater. Finally it passes through the chimney. The purpose of the chimney is to remove the pollutant particles to settle down in the chimney, and after certain height only it can be allowed to the atmospheric air. The next one is the steam and feed water circuit. Actually the water is the medium to the boiler. Here the feed water is passes through the economizer where it is heated, and then the feed water is entered into the boiler. So boiler is nothing but a steam generator. Here nothing but water is heated and the water is converted into a steam. And the steam is used to run the steam turbine. The purpose of the steam turbine is nothing but here the kinetic energy of the steam is converted into mechanical energy. And the turbine is coupled with the electrical generator. So the purpose of the generator is nothing but to produce electricity. We know that the Faraday's law of induction. So when a conductor is rotates in the magnetic field, it cuts the magnetic flux so that electricity is produced. And that electricity is transported to the places wherever we require by using the power transmission line. The purpose of the turbine is nothing but here an expansion process. Here the kinetic energy of the steam is converted into mechanical energy, and then mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, and the electrical energy is transported by using the power transmission line. The exhaust from the turbine is nothing but a steam. it is passes through the condenser. So this is about the feed water and steam circuit of a thermal power plant. So now the last one is the cooling water circuit. So normally cooling water circuit, we want to cool the exhaust gas steam which is coming from the turbine through the condenser. Condenser is nothing but it is a heat exchanger. It is used to remove the heat which is coming from the turbine. So the condenser here, what happens is actually, so by using the cooling tower, the normal cooling water, by using the cooling water pump, the normal cooling water is circulated inside the condenser. And here the exhaust steam which is coming from the turbine is gets contact with the cooling water. This is nothing but a heat exchanger, so that it is converted into water. So that there is a pressure drop occurs in the condenser. So due to that pressure drop, the turbine efficiency is also increased. And the exhaust steam here it is converted into water, and then it is passes through the feed pump. By using the feed pump, it is circulated back to the boiler. This is called as this is an economizer. The purpose of the economizer is nothing but to heat the feed water. Here there are two things we are using. One is low pressure heater pump and another one is high pressure heater pump. The some amount of steam which is coming from the turbine we can bleed out, and it is used to heat the feed water, because we cannot utilize the amount of energy which is available in the turbine fully. So we want to partly utilize the energy. Here there is some amount of energy available further after converting the utilization of the electrical energy also. So that steam can bleed out and it can be used in the low pressure pump, low pressure heater, and then it is again heated in the high pressure heater, and it is passed through the economizer, and then the feed water is entered into the boiler. So normally the working principle of the thermal power plant is nothing but the main components are the boiler, turbine, condenser and feed pump. So the boiler here, the water is converted into steam, and the steam is used to run the steam turbine. The steam turbine is coupled with the generator, and the electricity is produced. And the exhaust turbine which is coming from steam which is coming from the turbine is condensed in the condenser, where the condensation takes place. Here the steam is converted into water, and then the water is, by using the feed pump, it is circulated back to the economizer. The purpose of the economizer is nothing but it is utilized to heat the feed water. Then the feed water is entered into the boiler. So this is the layout of a thermal power plant. The thermodynamic cycle involved in the layout power plant is nothing but a Rankine cycle. Now let me see the Rankine cycle. The thermodynamic cycle for the thermal power plant is Rankine cycle. To draw the TS diagram for the Rankine cycle, this is nothing but for temperature. This is entropy. The unit for the entropy is kilojoule per kg Kelvin. So this is degree centigrade. So while drawing the TS diagram for the Rankine cycle, first we draw the liquid vapor line. So this is the critical point. So this is liquid line. So this one is vapor line. So in between this line, liquid plus vapor. So the components involved in the thermal power plant is boiler, turbine, condenser, and another one is pump. So normally it is a superheated steam is expanded in the turbine, and it is condensed vapor into liquid, and it is pumped back. So this is the Rankine cycle. So this 1 to 2 is WT. This is nothing but isentropic expansion. Normally isentropic process is nothing but PV power gamma equal to constant. The 2 to 3 is heat rejection. So here this is nothing but constant pressure, heat, rejection, and 423 is pump. So this is nothing but isentropic compression. The formula for isentropic compression, Pv power gamma is equal to C, and this one is heat addition. So this is constant pressure, heat addition process. So there are four processes are involved in the Rankine cycle. 1 to 2 is nothing but isentropic expansion. It is happened in the turbine. 2 to 3 is nothing but constant pressure heat rejection. It is happened in the condenser. 3 to 4 is the isentropic compression. Due to the pump, we are compressing the fluid. And 4 to 1 is nothing but constant pressure heat addition. So how to calculate the efficiency of this Rankine cycle? So process 1 to 2 is isentropic expansion. So normally the work done by the turbine is nothing but H1 minus H2. The process 2 to 3 is constant pressure, heat, rejection. So WC condenser. So what is the work done by the condenser? This with rejection is nothing but m dot into H2 minus H3. And 3 to 4 is a isentropic compression. WC is nothing but H4 minus H3. And 4 to 1 is constant pressure, heat addition. So Q addition equal to m dot into H1 minus H4. So these are all the formulas which is involved in the Rankine cycle. So normally W net equal to WT minus WC. So efficiency of the Rankine cycle is calculated W net divided by heat addition. So this is WT minus WC divided by heat addition. So this is about the working of a Rankine cycle. This is the ideal Rankine cycle for the thermal power plant. The PV and TS diagram. The TS diagram we already know that. This is the PV diagram, how it is working. The 1 to 2 process is a boiling process. 2 to 3 is an expansion through turbine, WT. And 3 to 4 is the condensation process. And 4 to 1 again the heating process. This is the temperature entropy diagram for the Rankine cycle. So this gives an idea about how actually the thermal power plant looks like. Thermal power plants normally it is a very bigger power plant. The construction is also very big. So this is an idea. So the thermal power plants available in Tamil Nadu is Mettur power plant, in Andhra Ramagundam power plant, and NALCO is also having very small thermal power plant in its company itself. This is a micro hydroelectric system. Here the jet of water which is used to run the Pelton wheel. The Pelton wheel is coupled with the electrical generator. The electricity is produced. In older days, a small amount of water utilized is also used for the hydroelectric power plant. So here this is a Pelton wheel which is located in the flow of water. When the water is coming from the higher level to lower level, automatically it is having the kinetic energy. It is used to rotate this wheel so that the kinetic energy of the water is converted into mechanical energy, and this wheel is coupled with the generator so that electricity is produced. This is about the micro hydroelectric power plant. This is the typical layout of a hydroelectric power plant. So normally the hydroelectric power plants are located very near in the dam areas only. So this is the reservoir where the water is stored. The dam is nothing but is a man-made construction to store the water. So most of the dams is having the hydroelectric power plants. So here in the catchment area, the water which is available during rainy season is stored in the reservoir. So it is normally located in the high hill areas only. So this is the ground level. So So in between that, the hydroelectric power plant is located. So this is about the penstock. The water which is carrying from the reservoir to the river is called as a pressure canal or penstock. This is a gate valve. By using the gate valve, we can open the water and the water can allow through the penstock. And this one is the surge tank. As I already told that surge tank is nothing but it is a temporary tank which is located in between the gate valve and input of the turbine. Because if we suddenly close the input valve of the turbine, a sudden pressure is created in the water tunnel, that is called as a water hammer. To avoid the water hammer, a surge tank is provided. It is a temporary tank which is located here. So to avoid the water hammer. So here this is the inlet valve. In this inlet valve, we can allow the amount of water which is inside the turbine. The turbine is, I already told that there are two types of turbine. One is impulse turbine and another one is a reaction turbine. The impulse turbine is nothing but all the energy, the inlet energy is nothing but only the potential energy. But in the case of reaction turbine, the inlet energy is nothing but potential energy as well as the kinetic energy. Mostly the hydroelectric power plant, all the turbines which is used are only reaction turbine. There are two types of turbine. We already know that Kaplan turbine and another one is a Francis turbine. When the water is flowing from higher head level to the lower head level, so it is having a very huge amount of kinetic energy. So this kinetic energy can be converted into mechanical energy in the turbine. The turbine is coupled with the electric generator so that the electricity is produced. Here the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy and the electrical energy is transferred by using the transformer and electricity cable. The exhaust water which is coming from the turbine is also having very huge amount of velocity. So we cannot directly allow that water into the river because the living things in the river are also affected. For avoiding that, we are using one thing which is called as a draft tube. The draft tube is nothing but it is a diverging section. So here the velocity of the water which is coming from the turbine is reduced and it is converted into pressure, increased pressure. So all the water which is coming from the turbine is immersed with the river and it directly go to the river. So this is the layout of a hydroelectric power plant. Here the kinetic energy can be converted into mechanical energy and the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy in the electric generator. Then electricity is produced and it is transferred wherever the places occur. The exhaust is passes through the river. So normally the hydroelectric power plant, we must transfer the water from higher head level to lower head level. So by using that, we also produce some amount of energy. In Tamil Nadu, Kadambare Dam and Bhavani Sagar is having the hydroelectric power plant. As we well know that Periyar is also having hydroelectric power plant. This is the animation of the hydroelectric power plant. See that the water which is coming from the higher head level to the turbine. This is nothing but a reaction turbine. Here the turbine is converted into kinetic energy into mechanical energy and the turbine is coupled with the generator. The working principle of the generator we already know that by using the Faraday's law of induction. So the electricity is produced and the electricity is transmitted to the places wherever it is required. And the exhaust water which is coming from the turbine is passes through the draft tube. The purpose of the draft tube I already told that it is used to reduce the velocity by increasing its pressure and then it passes through the tail race. This is about the working of hydroelectric power plant. This will give you a clear-cut idea about hydroelectric power plant, how it looks like practically. Next power plant is nuclear power plant. So we know that the amount of energy which is available during the nuclear process. So 1 kg of uranium is equal to 4,500 tons of coal and 17,000 tons of oil. So with this we can clearly understand how much amount of energy available from the nuclear. The types of processes are available in the nuclear. The first one is nuclear fusion process. The second one is nuclear fission process. This nuclear fission process is also called as, one type is chain reaction. This chain reaction is uncontrolled, controlled one. Nuclear fusion process is nothing but when we are combining two atoms, and from that we can produce some amount of energy. That chemical reaction itself produce some amount of energy. That is called as a nuclear fusion process. So deuterium plus tritium is combined together. It forms a helium atom plus neon, some amount of electrical energy. Moment of electrical energy. Similarly, nuclear fission process is nothing but by splitting an atom into two atoms, it is produces some amount of energy. When comparing the nuclear fusion and nuclear fission process, the nuclear fission process is liberating very huge amount of energy. So normally uranium we are using a fuel. So uranium 235 is reacted with one neutron. So this is formed as uranium 236. This uranium 236 is nothing but it is an isotope. So it reacted into some amount of energy. The amount of energy which is available during the nuclear fission process is very high. So normally for nuclear power plant, nuclear fission process only we are using. In this nuclear fission process is also called as a chain reaction. If the chain reaction is classified into two types, one is uncontrolled process and another one is a controlled process. If it is a uncontrolled process, it is used in atom bombs. So if it is a controlled process, it is used in nuclear power plant. So this is the basic physics about the nuclear reactions. Now let me see the components involved in the nuclear power plant. The components involved in the nuclear power plants, the basic components, nuclear reactor. This is the very important component in the nuclear reactor. The important parts involved in the nuclear reactor is nothing but the first one is fuel rods, the second one is a reflector, the third one is moderator, the fourth one is control rods, the fifth one is shielding. It may be a biological shielding or other shielding. So uranium 235 normally we are using as a fuel. It forms as like a pellets and it is stored in the fuel rod. The reflector is nothing but normally heavy water we are using a reflector. Heavy water we are using it a reflector. And moderator is nothing but it is used to slow down the neutrons which is coming from the nuclear reaction. So normally heavy water, graphite we are using, and control rods are nothing but it is used to control the nuclear fission reaction. Barium, boron and cadmium we are using to control the reaction. By biological shielding we are using concrete structure to avoid the unwanted radioactivity rays which is coming out from the nuclear reactor. The coolant which is used in the nuclear reactor is nothing but heavy water, liquid sodium, heavy water, liquid sodium, CO2. So this is a very important component in the nuclear power plant. The other one is steam generator. Turbine, condenser, and last one is pump. So these are all the components involved in the nuclear power plant. Now let me see the layout of a nuclear power plant. This is the chain reaction in the nuclear reactor. The uranium-235 is with a slow neutron. It is bombarded into two isotopes, barium-141 and krypton-92. So you see that how much the huge amount of 200 million electron volt of energy is available. This energy is used to heat the water. So that is the purpose of this chain reaction in the nuclear reactor. It is a controlled one. As I already told that the moderator, graphite or heavy water, which is used to absorb the coming neutrons. In this, again, a slow neutron is used to bombard this uranium-235 into two fragments, and again, it is a continuous process. If these processes are in controlled manner, means it is used in the nuclear reactor. If it is in uncontrolled manner, means it is used in the atom bombs. So this is the layout of a nuclear power plant. So normally this nuclear power plant is, there are two circuits. The first one is the primary circuit and second one is the secondary circuit. The secondary circuit is nothing but is a normal steam turbine power plant only. In the primary circuit, the prime component in the nuclear reactor is nothing but it is a nuclear reactor. Here where the nuclear reaction, fission reaction is happen. So 200 million electron volt of energy is available at that point. So this energy is utilized to heat the coolant or water which is coming inside the nuclear reactor, and then it is converted into hot coolant. Either it may be converted into steam or it may be converted into hot coolant, and by using the hot coolant is used to pass through the steam generator. Steam generator is nothing but it is a heat exchanger where the water is heated in the secondary circuit. The secondary circuit is also the water which is passes through the steam generator. The heat available from the primary circuit is used to heat the water which is coming from the secondary circuit. Then it is converted into superheated steam. And here the hot coolant is cooled, and again by using the coolant pump it is circulated back to the nuclear reactor. And this one, then the secondary circuit, the water which is coming through the steam generator is converted into superheated steam. So the kinetic energy of the steam is used to run the steam turbine. Say here the kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, and that the steam turbine is coupled with the generator so that electricity is produced. The exhaust from the turbine is nothing but it is a waste steam. It is also having very huge amount of heat. So here by using the condenser, the steam which is coming from the turbine is condensed and the steam is converted into water. And again this water is circulated back to the steam generator. So this is the working principle of a nuclear power plant. This is a combined cycle power plant. Here the initial one is nothing but the heat which is produced during the nuclear fission process is utilized to heat the water which is coming from the secondary circuit. The secondary circuit is nothing but it is a steam turbine power plant. One main disadvantage is in the nuclear power plant, the nuclear waste disposal only. How we can dispose the nuclear waste? Because the half-life time of the nuclear waste is around so many years. So we want to keep the nuclear waste carefully. So that is the main disadvantage of this nuclear power plant. The main advantage means we already know that 1 kg of uranium itself it is equal to the 4,500 tons of coal. So that is the main advantage. So this is the animation picture of a nuclear power plant. This is a direct circulation. So the coolant or hot water or heavy water which is passes through the nuclear reactor is heated, and then the heated water is used to run the turbine. Here the water itself is converted into steam, and the steam is used to run the turbine. The turbine is coupled with the generator, and this exhaust coming from the turbine is condensed in the condenser. So this is nothing but a heat exchanger. The water which is from the outside is circulated in the condenser, and then the condensed water once again it is circulated back to the nuclear reactor. The electricity produced in the generator is used to transmitted through the transmission lines. This is called as a boiling water reactor. There are several types of nuclear reactors are available. Pressurized water reactor, boiling water reactor, Candu reactor. Candu reactor is nothing but Canadian American deuterium reactor. liquid sodium nuclear reactor. So there are so many nuclear reactors are available, and fast breeder reactor is also now in stage. In Tamil Nadu, Kudangulam is one of the very famous nuclear power plant which is used to produce the power. So this is a typical nuclear power plant which is available, which gives an idea about how the nuclear power plant looks like. The next power plant is gas turbine power plant. So here gas is the medium for producing the electricity. So the types of gas turbine power plant normally, one is open cycle, the second one is closed cycle. The components involved in this gas turbine power plant, the first one is compressor, the second one is combustion chamber, the third one is turbine, the fourth one is reheater, the fifth one is a regenerator, the sixth one is intercooler. So normally the compressor we are using, there are two types, low pressure compressor, and another one is a high pressure compressor. Similarly the turbine we are using low pressure turbine, and another one is a high pressure turbine. So what is meant by open cycle, what is meant by closed cycle? So here the main part normally compressor. So this is the compressor, this is the turbine, this is the combustion chamber, this is the generator where the electricity is produced. The atmospheric air from the atmospheric air is replaced in the compressor. It is passes through the compressor. The purpose of the compressor is to nothing but it is used to increase the pressure of the air. The pressurized air then passes through the combustion chamber. Combustion chamber where the combustion takes place. The fuel is injected inside the combustion chamber, and then it increases the velocity of the air so that the combustion fuel gases is passes through the turbine. The kinetic energy of the fuel gases can be converted into mechanical energy. The turbine is coupled with the generator so that electricity is produced. If the exhaust gases can be directly allowed to the atmosphere means it is called as a open cycle. If it is recirculated back to the compressor means by using a after cooler, it is called as a closed cycle. This is about the gas turbine power plant. So the thermodynamic cycle involved in the gas turbine power plant is Brayton cycle. Brayton cycle. So while drawing the TS diagram, temperature entropy diagram, so 1 to 2 is an isentropic compression, 2 to 3 is a constant pressure heat addition, 3 to 4 is an isentropic expansion. So the process 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. So the formula is T power gamma equal to C. 2 to 3 is constant pressure heat addition. Process is P is equal to C. 3 to 4 is isentropic expansion process. So P power gamma equal to constant in the turbine. So 4 to 1 is constant pressure heat rejection. Constant pressure heat rejection, P equal to C. So normally the work done W net is calculated Wt minus Wc. The efficiency of the Brayton cycle is nothing but W net divided by Qin. So it is equal to Wt minus Wc divided by Qn. So this is about the Brayton cycle of a gas turbine power plant. So we know that there are two types of gas turbine power plant. One is open cycle and another one is a closed cycle. So the components involved are compressor, combustion chamber and turbine. So it is a heat exchanger, after cooler. So the air coming from the atmosphere is compressed in the compressor, where here the pressure is increased, and the pressurized air is passes through the combustion chamber, where the fuel is injected inside the combustion chamber, so that the combustion takes place. It increases the velocity of the air as well as the flue gases, and then the flue gases passes through the turbine. Here the kinetic energy of the flue gases is used to run the turbine. Here the kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy. The turbine is coupled with the generator, and the exhaust from the turbine is, if it is allowed to the atmosphere directly, it is called as a open cycle gas turbine power plant. Suppose if the gas is again cooled by using the heat exchanger, it is called as an aftercooler, and then again it is circulated back to the compressor, means it is called as a closed cycle gas turbine power plant. Now let me see the layout of a gas turbine power plant. This is a complete layout of a gas turbine power plant. So here initially this is a starting motor. We want to start the machine for running some time. So by using the air from the atmosphere is passes through the air filter to remove the unwanted materials from the air, and then by this passes through the low pressure compressor. Here for pressurizing the air is happened to increase the pressure. While increasing the pressure, the temperature is also increased, because PV is equal to RT, directly proportional to RT. Pressure is directly proportional to temperature. If the pressure is increased, temperature is also increased. So then it is passes through the intercooler. Intercooler is nothing but to reduce the pressure, reduce the temperature of the air which is passes through the compressor. So that is the purpose of the intercooler. If the intercooler efficiency is 100%, so that the temperature of the entry of the high pressure compressor is equal to the entry of the low pressure compressor. This is nothing but to improve the efficiency of the machine only. And here this is a high pressure compressor. After intercooler, the air is passed through the high pressure compressor. Again the pressurization is happened. While reducing the temperature, there is no effect of the pressure. Then the air which is coming from the high pressure compressor is passes through the regenerator. The purpose of the regenerator is nothing but to utilize the exhaust gas coming from the turbine, because the exhaust gas from the turbine is also having very huge amount of energy. We want to tap that energy. For that we are using that equipment. It is called as a regenerator. Regenerator is nothing but it is a heat exchanger. So the air which is coming from the high pressure compressor is heated in the regenerator, because the regenerator is nothing but it is a heat exchanger. The exhaust coming from the turbine is passes through the regenerator. If the air is heated in the regenerator, we know that the efficiency of the combustion is higher, because we are supplying the air to the combustion. So this is the combustion chamber, where the fuel is injected inside the combustion chamber. Already the air is heated, so that the combustion takes place in the combustion chamber in a very good manner. And then it is used to run the turbine, because here the kinetic energy of the gas is available, and this kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy of in this high pressure turbine. And again the exhaust coming from the high pressure turbine is also having very huge amount of energy. We want to utilize that one. For making that, we want to use one thing, it is called as a reheater. It is an additional combustion chamber which is located in between the turbine stages. And again it is heated, and then it is passes through the low pressure heater. Here also we want to convert that and remaining kinetic energy into mechanical energy. So how much amount of energy tapping is possible is also done in this process, high pressure turbine and low pressure turbine. Then this turbine is coupled with the generator. The generator is produced with the electricity, and the electricity is transferred wherever the places it is required. See that all the things are coupled with a single shaft. The thing is, the power produced in the turbine stages are used to run the compressors. So that is the main disadvantage of this gas turbine power plant. The amount of energy used for this compressor is very high. The efficiency of the gas turbine power plant is around 23 to 25% only. So that is the main disadvantages. Even though this gas turbine power plant is nowadays using for peak load power plants. So all the gas turbine power plants which is used in the things are all nothing but a combined cycle power plant. The exhaust gas which is coming from the turbine is having very huge amount of energy that is passes through the regenerator, then it is used to heat the air. So this is the working principle of a gas turbine power plant. So this is about the Brayton cycle, PV and TS diagram, pressure and volume diagram, temperature and entropy diagram. See that 1 to 2 is nothing but an isentropic compression, S is equal to constant. 2 to 3 is nothing but constant pressure heat addition. So here 1 to 3 see that, here 1 to 2 see that. Here 2 to 3 is nothing but constant pressure heat addition. Here also constant pressure heat addition. 3 to 4 is nothing but isentropic expansion process in the turbine. This is an isentropic expansion. 4 to 1 is nothing but again it is a heat rejection process. This is the PV and TS diagram of a Brayton cycle. This is a typical gas turbine combined cycle because the efficiency of the gas turbine power plant is very less, so that the gas turbine power plant is coupled with some other power plant and it is utilized in the industrial purposes. See that the air is cleaned in the filter and then it is compressed in the compressor. In between that a combustion chamber we are using. Normally natural gas is a fuel used for this gas turbine power plant. And the combustion, after combustion, the combustion products are passed through the turbine. The turbine is coupled with the generator so that the electricity is produced. The amount of electricity is also given here. The exhaust from the turbine, I already told that, is having very huge amount of energy. We don't want to waste that energy. We want to utilize that energy. For that, this exhaust gas is passes through this point. It is called as a heat recovery steam generator. Heat recovery steam generator is nothing but the amount of energy which is available in the exhaust gas can be recovered here and it is used to heat the water. It is nothing but again it is a steam turbine power plant. The water which is circulated here is heated and the steam is produced and then the steam is used to run the steam turbine. The steam turbine is coupled with the generator, so the additional amount of energy is also produced. This is nothing but combined cycle power plant. Again the exhaust steam which is coming from the turbine is condensed by using the condenser. It is converted into water and then condensed water is treated here. Condensed water is treated here and the water it is added again, it is called as a backup water and then again it is circulated back. So this is nothing but a cooling tower. The purpose of the cooling tower is nothing but it is used to cool the steam which is coming through the condenser. So this is the working principle of a gas turbine combined cycle power plant. There are two power plants are available here. One is the topping cycle is nothing but it is a gas turbine power plant. The bottoming cycle is nothing but it is a steam turbine power plant. By combining these two power plants, we can produce more amount of energy. So this is a typical gas turbine power plant available. This is a multi-stage gas turbine power plant. The main disadvantage of this gas turbine power plant is its efficiency only. The efficiency of the gas turbine power plant is around 20 to 23% only. So that is the main disadvantage because it is due to that the amount of energy which is produced in the turbine is utilized to run the compressor. This is the main disadvantage. The next power plant is diesel power plant. So diesel power plant is an additional power plant which is also called as a stationary power plant which is used for the peak load power plants. The main components involved in the diesel power plant are diesel engine, air starting system, fuel supply system, air supply system, exhaust system, cooling water circuit system, lubrication system. So these are all the components involved in the diesel power plant. Now, this is the layout of a diesel power plant. So before going to see the diesel power plant, we must know that what is meant by the diesel engine. So diesel engine is nothing but this is a 4-stroke diesel engine. So here diesel is a fuel. How the diesel is converted into electrical energy, diesel engine here. So there are 4 processes involved in the diesel engine. The first one is the intake system, the second one is the compression system, the third one is the power stroke, the fourth one is the exhaust stroke. During the intake stroke, what happens? The piston is moving from the top dead center to bottom dead center. At that time the inlet valve is open, the exhaust valve is closed, the air is entered inside the combustion chamber. Here, this is called as a combustion chamber. This is a compression ignition engine. Compression ignition engine means here air is compressed, we are not giving any spark, we are compressing the air and fuel mixture. After that the fuel is injected. At that time the ignition happened. So during the compression stroke, what happened? The piston is moving from bottom dead center to top dead center. At the time both the valves are closed, so that the air which is available in the combustion chamber is compressed, so that it increases the pressure. So when we are increasing the pressure, automatically the temperature is also increased. At the end of the compression stroke, the fuel is injected. So it is designed based on the self-ignition temperature of the diesel. So here at the time of diesel is injected, due to the temperature, automatically it is ignited. So that this is called as a power stroke. During the power stroke, the combustion takes place. Automatically it try to push the piston from top dead center to bottom dead center, so that this is a combustion process. This is a main process, it is called as a power stroke. And the last stroke is nothing but during the last stroke the piston is moving from bottom dead center to top dead center. At the time inlet valve is closed, the exhaust valve is open, so that all the combustion products goes out through the exhaust valve. This is about the working of this diesel engine. Here see that while moving the piston top and bottom, it try to rotate the crank. Here it is converted into mechanical energy. So this diesel, this part is connected with the generator, so that the mechanical energy can be converted into electrical energy. The thermodynamic cycle for this one is nothing but a diesel cycle. So here the process A to B is nothing but an isentropic compression process. 2 to 3, B to C is nothing but a constant pressure heat addition process. That's why it is also called as a constant pressure cycle. And C to D is nothing but isentropic expansion process. The formulas are also given. And D to A is nothing but constant volume heat rejection process. So this is about the diesel cycle. Now let me see the layout of a diesel power plant. So here this is the diesel engine. I already know what is the working principle of the diesel engine, because here due to the running of this diesel engine, all the mechanical energy it is converted into mechanical energy. The chemical energy of the combustion of the diesel is converted into mechanical energy, and this diesel engine is coupled with the generator. Here the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, so that electricity is produced. This is about the electricity production part. What is the fuel for the diesel engine? Normally diesel is the fuel, so we want to store the fuel in the fuel oil tank. So here, so by using the fuel pump, it is pumped to the diesel engine. In between that a filter is provided. If any unwanted material is available in the diesel, can be eliminated in the filter, and by using the pump it is passed through the diesel engine by using the fuel injector. At the time of the compression stroke, the fuel is injected inside the combustion chamber. Automatically the combustion takes place. And for starting of diesel engine, we want to use the compressed air, so that this is a starting air system. So here a compressor is provided. This compressor is used to compress the air, pressurized air, and the pressurized air is filtered in the filter, and then this air is used to start the diesel engine. And also some amount of air is used for combustion purpose, that is taken in the diesel engine itself. The exhaust gas which is coming from the diesel engine is passes through the silencer to avoid the noise. It's directly enter to the atmosphere. And the lubricating oil. Diesel engine is nothing but it is a continuous moving devices are there. So we want to supply the lubricating oil inside the engine itself. A separate circuit is there for supplying the lubricating oil. This lubricating oil is stored in the lubricating oil tank and it is filtered, and by using the lubricating pump it is injected inside the diesel engine. So after it is stored in the crank at the bottom of the diesel engine, and the lubricating oil, used lubricating oil is heated because the engine is working, and the heated lubricating oil is cooled by using the oil cooler. For this oil cooler, we are giving a separate circuit, cooling water circuit for this oil cooler. That is a cooling water circuit. The heat which is generated in the lubricating oil is removed by the oil cooler, and again the lubricating oil is returned back to the lubricating oil tank. And this is a separate cooling water circuit. This cooling water circuit is used to cool the oil as well as cool the engine. So we know that radiator is the purpose of cooling the diesel engine. So this is about the working principle of the diesel engine. So normally the diesel engine is nothing but the chemical energy available due to the combustion of the diesel is used to convert into mechanical energy, and this diesel engine is coupled with the generator so that electricity is produced by using the diesel engine. So this is a normal diesel generator which is available in our hostel itself. It is the best example for the diesel power plant. For this power plant is used only for very small purposes only. So this is nothing but a geothermal power plant. The heat energy which is available under the earth is utilized for power production. These are all the smaller power plants. It is also under research only. Here this is the geothermal reservoir. So the heat available under the earth. So by using the water, it is the steam is available. By pushing the water, the steam which is available in the geothermal reservoir is coming to the separator. So it may be a mixing of steam and water. The steam is separated in the steam separator, and the steam is used to run the steam turbine, and the steam turbine is coupled with the generator, so the electricity is produced. The exhaust steam which is coming from the turbine is condensed in the condenser. Again it is pumped back to the injection well. So this is called as a geothermal energy power plant. So this is a typical example of the geothermal energy power plant. These power plants are all additional power plant which is upcoming. The next one is the solar thermal power plant. We know that the solar energy available in the world is very high. So nearly in India 300 sunny days are available. So we want to tap that solar energy. So here this is a power plant. This is a parabolic collector. The parabolic collector is utilize the solar energy. So the coolant which is passes through the parabolic collector is gets heated, and the heated water is passes through the steam generator. This is nothing but an additional steam collector. So here the generator steam is used to run the steam turbine. The steam turbine is coupled with the generator. The exhaust coming from the turbine is passes through the condenser. Here a cooling tower is coupled, and the steam is circulated back to the steam generator. There are two circuits we are using here. One is primary circuit and another one is the secondary circuit. The primary circuit is nothing but it is covered the solar collectors, and the secondary circuit is nothing but a steam turbine power plant. So this is the best example about the solar power plant. The next one is the solar tower concept. So all the solar energy is concentrated in a single tower. This is called as a boiler or solar receiver. All the solar energy is available is collected, and it is concentrated in the solar receiver. The amount of energy available in this solar tower is very high. So here this is a topping combustor. So the steam which is coming here is used to run the turbine, and again this gas turbine exhaust from the turbine is used to the steam generator. The steam is produced here, and the produced steam is used to run the steam turbine. The steam turbine is again exhaust from the steam turbine is condensed back, and it is circulated back. This is a Brayton cycle. This is a Rankine cycle. It is a combined cycle power plant by using the solar energy. So this is the best example about the solar tower concept. The next power plant is a tidal power plant. The energy available during the tides is utilized to produce the power. So during the upcoming tide, it is called as a flood tide. When the tides are coming through this direction, it is try to run these blades. So here the kinetic energy of the water is converted into mechanical energy. It is connected with the generator, so the electricity is produced and the electricity is coupled back. While returning tide is called as a ebb tide. So during that tidal, kinetic energy also utilized back. So this is also in research area only, tidal power plant. So this is the best example of this tidal power plant. See that the blades, like wind blades, are located under the sea. During the tides, upcoming and downgoing, both the things are rotating these blades. So automatically the power is produced. We have seen different power plants. The important power plants are thermal power plant, hydroelectric power plant, nuclear power plant, gas turbine power plant, diesel power plant, and some other important power plants are geothermal power plant, solar power plant, tidal power plant. As a mechanical engineer, we must visit all these power plants to know and to what are all the things we study in the mechanical engineering. So all the power plants are utilizing all the accessories. So that is very important for mechanical engineering students. Thank you.